This is the story of the biggest heist in history, the story of the Great Train Robbery that took place on August 7th, 1963. Imagine pulling off a heist so grand it redefines the meaning of getting away with it. What if I told you this actually happened? This is the story of the biggest heist in history, the story of the Great Train Robbery that took place on August 7th, 1963. The mastermind behind this heist was Bruce Reynolds, working alongside Ronald Edwards, Charlie Wilson, and Douglas Goody. To execute their plan, they enlisted the help of members from local gangs, including the Southwest Gang and the South Coast Raiders. Some of these recruits spent months working as signalmen and shunters for British Railways to gain insider knowledge and trust. The robbery was meticulously planned, with roles assigned for planners, muscle, and getaway drivers. They even brought in a retired engine driver to assist in the heist. Their target wasn't just any train, it was the Royal Mail post train, which transported valuable items, including money meant for bank deposits. The carriages were alarm-free because the previous ones had been decommissioned, making this train an easy target. Adding to their advantage, the weekend had been a bank holiday, which meant that the train was carrying a hefty £2.5 million instead of the usual £300,000. Knowing that the post train never stopped for anything, the robbers had to find a way to halt it themselves. They chose a remote location and used a fake signal of danger to stop the train by cutting the wire to the line-side telephone. When the train came to a halt, the gang took control, overpowering the crew and restraining them. The team swiftly unloaded the money and split it among themselves. However, their plan hit a snag when the retired driver struggled with the passenger diesel locomotive controls. The original drivers were forced to drive the train to the drop-off point. Despite the hiccup, the gang managed to transfer the money into waiting vehicles, including Land Rovers and an Austin Lodestar lorry. After the heist, the gang split up and regrouped at a farm about 27 miles away. They divided the money into 16 large shares and several smaller ones. To avoid detection, they monitored police broadcasts and cut phone lines before leaving the farmhouse, which one of the crew members later betrayed by fleeing with his share and failing to burn the building. The police launched a massive investigation, offering a £10,000 reward for information. A local herdsman's tip-off led them to the farmhouse, but it had not been burned. Despite careful planning, the robbers left behind key evidence, including a ketchup bottle and a Monopoly set. Although the police managed to arrest 13 of the gang members, Bruce Reynolds, the mastermind, was not apprehended until 1968. The remaining members, including an informant and 3 muscle men, were either captured or remained at large in the end. Despite the capture of most of the robbers, the police never recovered the full amount of stolen money. Less than £400,000 was found, with the rest likely spent or laundered by those who had looked after the money during their prison time. On the crisp night of March 18, 1990, one of the most audacious and enigmatic art heists in history unfolded at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. The museum, renowned for its eclectic and priceless collection, became the backdrop for a daring robbery that would baffle investigators and captivate the world for decades. Under the cover of darkness, 2 men disguised as police officers gained access to the museum by exploiting a security lapse. Once inside, they subdued the night watchman and set about their nefarious task. Over the course of just 81 minutes, the thieves pilfered 13 masterpieces valued at over $500 million. Among the stolen works were Vermeer's The Concert, Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, and Manet's Chez Tortoni, each a gem of irreplaceable artistic and historical value. The heist left the museum's collection drastically diminished and the art world reeling. Despite numerous leads, investigations, and public appeals, the trail grew cold, and the case remains unsolved. The empty frames that once held these masterpieces now serve as a haunting reminder of the art that was lost. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist remains a mystery steeped in intrigue, inviting countless theories and speculation. The case has inspired books, documentaries, and a relentless search for the missing treasures, with the hope that one day the stolen art will be recovered and its rightful place restored. In the heart of Fortaleza, Brazil, a meticulously planned heist unfolds that will etch itself into criminal law forever. The Vault of Shadows, tells the gripping tale of the Banco Central burglary, one of the most audacious and elaborate robberies in history. The story centers around Antonio Jusivan Alves dos Reis, a criminal mastermind whose genius for detail and patience make him a formidable adversary. His plan is as daring as it is complex: to tunnel his way into the vault of the Banco Central, bypassing all conventional security measures. Over the course of 3 months, Reis and his gang transform a rented house into an underground workshop, where they dig a tunnel with precision and care, equipping it with lighting and ventilation. As the operation reaches its climax, the gang emerges from their subterranean lair into the heart of the bank's vault. With a mix of stealth and speed, they access and seize a staggering 160 million Brazilian reais, about $70 million USD. Their success is seemingly flawless, but the euphoria is short-lived. The following day, the robbery is discovered, and a wave of panic and intrigue sweeps through the city. The authorities launch an extensive investigation, but the trail is cold and the robbers have vanished. The story follows the intense manhunt and the unraveling of the gang's complex network as law enforcement races against time to track down those responsible.